Dear friend, I was recently determined to find the ultimate cornbread recipe, so I got to surfing the web. I surfed and surfed and surfed until I came across a cornbread recipe by Joshua Weissman and another by John Kanell. Joshua's was quite the recipe, especially because he took the initiative to brown the butter. Now that for me was genius, but the rest did not quite impress me as it seemed to turn out dry at the end. The cornbread by John, on the other hand, was simply the good old cornbread, basic without the added dramatics. So what did your girl do? I merged both recipes and came up with the ultimate, the most delicious, buttery, and moistest cornbread I have ever tasted. Let's get into it. If there is one thing I know about making cornbread, it is that the dry ingredients must be measured properly. Use a scale if you have one, and if you don't, use cups to measure. The full recipe is linked in the description below for you. Now this is cornbread, so you will need yellow cornmeal. I went with a slightly grainy texture of cornmeal. I just wanted to add that texture in there. Now you'll also be needing some unsalted butter, flour, egg, baking powder, some salt, whole milk, or you can call it half and half, and sugar. The first step is to brown the butter as Joshua did in his recipe. Without all that added sage and all, I wasn't feeling that. So I left all of that out. I simply browned my butter, and that for me was a game changer. It amplified the flavor of this recipe. It's okay if you have a few grains at the bottom. After it has browned, set it aside and let it cool. While the butter is cooling, in a large bowl, you want to mix in 1.5 cups of cornmeal, 3/4 cups of flour, your salt, your sugar. Mix and ensure to combine well. For the wet ingredients, on the other hand, combine your milk and your egg. At this point, you want to drop about a teaspoon of butter into your cast iron skillet and insert in your 400-degree oven while we get on to the mixing part. Make a well in the center of the dry ingredients and add in the wet ingredients. Now, one thing you don't want to do is overmix your batter. Gentle hands, okay? Transfer the batter into that hot cast iron skillet or baking tin. Insert back into the oven and let it bake for 30 to 35 minutes or until a toothpick comes out dry. You know, the toothpick test? Yeah. This cornbread recipe will be your new go-to. I promise you that. Don't take my word for it. Try it out yourself. Check out sturvsbyiddy for the full recipe. Please subscribe if you haven't, like, share, and take your time to check out my other recipes. I hope to see you in my next video with another banging recipe.